Howdy folks, it's Angel the Hunting Gear Guy, and this is the Swarovski 0.75-6 by 20. It's a low power variable optic illuminated, made by Swarovski, and it's a pretty nice optic. It's pretty nice. It's a little bit expensive. So these things are around 3,700 Canadian, right around $3,000 US. And I think the idea with these things, this is made as like a close-in hunting scope. That 0.75 on it is very interesting. I'll go close up for this part. Now first let's talk about that magnification, because the magnification ring is actually quite interesting on this thing. It's got a little bit of a wing here, just a little bit recessed. And you can see that we can go over to 0.75. As we're coming back to 1, there's actually a detent there, so it's very easy to click back onto the 0 zoom or 1 magnification, or then roll it on over to 6, and you can see that those magnification range kind of compresses as you get up there. So then back down to 1, clicks in, or then we can widen it to 0.75, which is pretty interesting in my opinion. Next over here with the illumination, we've got a couple of different ways that we set that. We can go plus or minus on it, and then we've got kind of two modes, one for daytime, one for nighttime. So flick it on over to the daytime to get a daytime visible illumination, or flip it over to nighttime, and then you can plus or minus. It'll remember your setting, and that's pretty much it. It's very easy to use. If you tip it on its side or pull it up or something like that, it will automatically turn off the reticle, which is kind of interesting. Or you can just flick it off like that. You can see on the turret there, we can make click adjustments here. These are 1 centimeter per 100 meters. So these are in mil clicks, or 0.36 of an inch per click. We can also reset the turret by pulling it up and then rotating that. And we can see where that dial has gone. So we're able to just kind of see how far we've gone and then bring it back as well. And we can see just on the top there, those graduations are marked. Now the left turret is actually where we've got our battery. You can see our battery right there. So we can pop that back on. And on the right side, it's extra large, and I'll show you why in just a minute here. We've got both the windage adjustments available there, as well as a spare battery just hidden underneath the cap. There is a little bit of a rubber push here, so you can push that battery out of its little recess inside the cap. And that's basically all there is to it. I mean, yeah, we've got a twistable adjustment on the back here, nothing on the front, just a simple 20 millimeter objective and 30 millimeter tube. Total weight on the scope is 520 grams or 1.15 pounds, which is, I don't know, fine, I guess, for what you get in terms of quality and that kind of thing. The illuminated reticle on this thing is kind of interesting. So you kind of get like a standard duplex style, a little bit thicker on the, I'll show an image here, a little bit thicker on the sides and on the bottom. The illuminated reticle is a circle with a dot in it, a very precise dot with the illumination. I think a lot of times with illuminated reticles, they kind of light up all the black parts of the reticle. On this one, not so much. It just does the circle and the dot, which is actually quite nice. I'd be remiss not to show you what's in the box, because the box itself is very fancy. And when you open it up, you get a nice little painting on the back here. You've got some user manuals. They give you a little Torx heads, Allen key, and whatnot, all little fixings here. The manual itself is actually pretty decent. It's got a pretty decent little user's manual on this thing, and it's pretty complete. Goes through all the little like bits and bobs of the scope and what to look for. They've also got a little manual on how to install the scope or mount the scope. Notably, they recommend 17.7 inch-pounds. Interesting that they're not using like Newton meters or something on there. For scope rings, they're saying 20 inch-pounds for steel, 15 inch-pounds for aluminum, which is pretty standard. You know, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that if you put too much torque onto the rings of the scope, it can actually bind the erector setup in there, so that if you're torquing down there too tight, making adjustments will not work or work intermittently, which is hard and frustrating to say the least. And of course, it's got a pretty fancy set of see-through scope caps that it comes with as well. So who should buy one of these scopes? You could technically buy this for 3-gun. I don't think it's a great fit for 3-gun, primarily because for 3-gun, if you need to shoot long range, you're gonna need something that's got like either a graduated reticle, something that's got like hash marks at some distances, so you can know, okay, at 200 it's got this much drop, 3, 4, 500 it's got that much drop, or a BDC reticle or something like that, or you need to be able to dial the turrets, and this one's just not made for that kind of a thing. I think this would primarily find itself really at home on a bore rifle, something where that 0.75 magnification is really going to be handy. If you haven't shot with a less than 1 magnification optic, it's really interesting. It's quite easy to pick up a target. So bringing it up and looking through the 0.75 on this thing is fast, easy. And when you consider the shots that most people take with their rifles, it's probably the most practical setting for a lot of people. It's just something that's like low magnification, especially, again, close in. Where I hunt, I've got room for 300-meter shots fairly regularly. But for a lot of people in a lot of parts of this country and in Europe, they're never going to get anything near that. They're going to be 50 meters, 20 meters, 10 meters. And for that, a little bit less magnification is fine and is practical. This is a smaller scope than something that's going to have a bigger objective on it. It's got a more practical magnification range. It's got fantastic glass quality. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit finer in life for your hunting, check out the Swarovski Z8i. Thanks for watching.